What's up, you guys? It's your boy Cal. And look, right. So a few days ago, I was going through my subscription timeline, and I ran across a post posted by Comics Explained. He has a channel similar to Comic Historian where he, picks certain Marvel and DC comics. He doesn't read them to you, but he like goes through them, tells you what the story's about, tells them what the characters are up to, his perspective on it, what the writers are trying to tell you, and much more. Right? He tells comic origins. He gives comic history. It's just overall great channel. One of my favorite channels. I've never met the guy, but based off of this little tangents he go on and the conversations I've had, seen him have with other YouTubers, he seems like a pretty chill guy. But in regards to this post, he posted a picture of the 3 modern day Invisible Woman actresses, right? Jessica Alba, Vanessa Kirby, and I don't know the name of the other one that played in Fantastic, but her as well, right? And a caption that said, "Everybody loves Reed, but what about the Sueverse?" While I'm not the biggest Fantastic Four fan, I do love Invisible Woman. She's my favorite Fantastic Four member and one of my favorite females in Marvel Comics. One of my favorite female characters in general, right? So me being me, I responded to the post, right? Saying just that. And I had someone, seemed like a cool person. I don't know their name. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. But we had a conversation and he asked me why. And I explained it to him. And this had me thinking, well, with certain posts I see or with certain things I say, why don't I make a series defending my case? And if it pops off with this video, then I'll continue the series. Because there's a lot of things about the comic world that a lot of people have opinions on that I don't agree with. That's just not just the comic world, but in general, right? So that's what we're going to do. Today, I'm going to defend my reasoning for why Sue Storm is my favorite member of the Fantastic Four.
All she ever says, come and see me for once. Come and see me for once. You don't ever come to me. Yeah. You don't ever come to me. Yeah. All she ever says, come and see me for once. Come and see me for once. You don't ever come to me. Yeah.
Now, before we get too far into the video, let me just be clear. Like I said, I am not the biggest Fantastic Four fan, right? I've just recently started watching the original 90s show. Seems pretty decent so far. I've seen all the Fantastic Four movies, the ones from the early 2000s and the Fantastic one. And little tangent here. Can I just say, I think those movies are highly underrated. They're not great. They're not great movies. The first Fantastic Four movie was okay. It was good. Rise of the Silver Surfer is my favorite. It's one of my favorite old-time Marvel movies. I think these movies are highly underrated. And Fantastic, it wasn't a great movie. And I can understand the hate behind it. But if you take away the comic accuracy and how certain things were done, outside of being a comic book movie, it's a pretty decent movie. I don't think it deserves as much hate as it's getting. But that's another story and another video for another day. However, I've also seen some of the world's greatest series, right? I've read some stories. I haven't read the Jonathan Hickman Fantastic Four yet, but I want to. One of the main stories I remember from Fantastic Four that I have read was when the Heroes Reborn series happened back in the day of the early 2000s, late 90s, late 80s, whatever time frame it was, right? And I've seen and read some of the Ultimate Fantastic Four. For all of those who don't know, the Fantastic Four, Marvel's first family, right? Because you have Reed Richards, who is the smartest man in the world. He meets his best friend, Ben Grimm, in college. Eventually, he ends up going out and marrying Sue Storm, and she brings her younger brother, Johnny Storm, along, right? And they go on this space adventure where they're bombarded by cosmic rays and they get powers. Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, he is basically the male version of Elastigirl. Ben Grimm turns into a golem-like creature. Invisible Woman could basically bend light rays around her to make force fields and become invisible or make other things invisible. And Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, he's basically a fire elementalist. And of course, like any other superhero team, there's been other members of the Fantastic Four, other recruits, but that is the main and the core team, the world's first family. Johnny and Sue are brothers and sisters. Sue eventually ends up marrying Reed. Reed and Ben are best friends. When Sue and Reed have kids, Ben is the godfather. Marvel's first family, right? So, to get to the video, I'm going to go through each member of the Fantastic Four, starting with Reed and finally closing with why I love Sue. Let's get into it. Richards. Okay. Now, before I start breaking down Reed, let me just be clear. I don't hate any member of the Fantastic Four. Sue's the one I think deserves more spotlight, who I can see on any team, who's just the greatest, right? And I don't hate the other three members. I just don't value them as much as I would any other character. Reed Richards, he is the smartest man alive. That is not an arrogant thing he is. That's not a cocky thing he is. That's not a self-proclaimed title. That is what he is in Marvel Universe. He is out of, there's usually a top 10 list. He's always number one. It's always between him and Dr. Doom, and of late is now his daughter. But he is the smartest man alive. He knows everything, right? But him being the smartest man alive gets in the way of his day-to-day. He's very unsympathetic, right? When you have problems, when people have problems, he'd rather look at them from a scientific standpoint instead of trying to connect to people emotionally or as connect to them as individuals or socially, mentally. He'd rather diagnose the problem as it is a scientific conundrum. And that gets in the way of a lot of stuff because he's too curious for his own good. He's so curious that he rushes into things a lot. He doesn't take caution. He doesn't ask a lot of questions. When he does ask questions, he doesn't break those questions down. He often gets into his work and experiments, and usually they backfire. They cause a lot of problems. Not only that, but he values his work more than he values his family, his loved ones. That's a problem for me. He's so disattached. He's so disattached that he'll ignore his wife, which often has her in pursuit. Well, she's not pursuing them, but other people like Namor and Black Panther are pursuing her. He ignores his kids. It's just, I don't like that. And I connect with that because I have a father who I'm not connected to for real. When he was in our lives, he would ignore my birthday to go hang out with his friends. He would ignore me in the hospital to go to work. So I think I have a lot of justification in saying why I don't appreciate a character like that. Next, we have Ben Grimm, the Thing. Ben Grimm, for the situation that Ben Grimm is in, you would think that I would connect to him and value him a little bit more. The reason I said that is because during my conversation with the person on YouTube, it was established that I like tragic characters more often than I like flawed characters. The person I was talking to, he sees Reed as a flawed character. He said he loves flawed characters, which is fine. But me, I prefer disastrous characters, tragic characters, ones who have a hard time the most, right? It's easy to sympathize with them. You can see the reasoning behind their actions, behind their feelings. It's easy to connect with, especially for me, a kid who's been through a lot in his life, a lot of medical problems, family problems. I love tragic characters, especially when they're heroes, because it's like they overcame that stuff, right? And not to say that Ben isn't a tragic character, but for him to be in this position, I think he should be more tragic. Now, the only times I ever seen him as a tragic character were in the Fantastic Four movies. Of course, there's been times in comics where he's down on his luck and everything, and he wants to be transformed into back to normal Ben. But I've never seen it really fleshed out in a comic. In the comics I've read, he's, the one messing with Johnny, or he's challenging the Hulk, worried about poker, worried about bowling. I don't like that. In the movies, though, he's ready to jump off a bridge. He's down with his love, losing his wife. The other time, he's ready to knock out his best friend because his best friend just abandoned him while his life was ruined. That's the type of moments I like for a character like Ben. And maybe there's more stories where he's like that. The person recommended a Ben Grimm series I might check out. Like I said, I don't read a lot of Fantastic Four, so I wouldn't know. But that's how I like to see Ben, right? But other than that, Ben is very... If you know me, you know I like hard-ass characters. And while some will say Ben is a hard-ass character, I would say, yeah, he could be defined as one, but I see him more as pushy, oppressive. He could come off as a bully. And it's not like a hard-ass character I like where he's focused in all seriousness. It's just like he comes off as a bully, and I don't like that. I don't like that. But yeah, I don't know what it is about Ben. Next, we have the Human Torch, Johnny. Johnny has the same problem I have with characters like Iceman, right? That character problem being, for as powerful as Human Torch is, he should be devastated, broken. And I'm not talking about emotionally or mentally. I'm talking about people should fear him. People should avoid this character at all costs. People should try their best not to make him mad. Because for all intents and purposes, Johnny is an Omega level threat. He can dry you out. He can create fire. He can heat up the sun, burn the world down. If he really put his mind to it, he could be a havoc, disastrous problem. But no one takes him seriously because Johnny doesn't take himself seriously and he doesn't take anything else seriously. I always had a problem with characters like that. Because Johnny, everything to him is a game. And I get that he's the youngest character. When the Fantastic Four was made, he was put there to be the young character. Fine. But one of my problems with that is, seeing that I know young characters, I've seen young characters who seem more mature and more focused than Johnny, it's kind of a problem for me. So if it's not Reed causing problems, it's him causing problems. Another thing about Johnny is, Johnny, like I said, all of these characters have redeemable qualities. Where Ben might seem like a jerk, he's really sensitive and sweet. While Reed may be just attached and too curious for his own good, he's been known to be a philanthropist, to donate. Johnny's redeemable quality is, when all goes down to hell, you want him on your side. He's there when it matters. He's always serious and ready to go. That's my problem, though. I don't want to be able to count on you some of the time. I want to be able to count on you all of the time. Because who's to say shit's always going to go apocalyptic? But that means you're going to be worried about your image and making jokes during every other occasion. That's not a good thing, especially when you're on a team. Not only that, he's always worried about his image, how he looks to people, how he comes off to girls, always worried about the next date, or how cool things are. I can't take the character seriously if they don't take themselves seriously. So those are some of the reasons why I don't like the other three members. Well, why I don't value them as much as Sue. For every character trait I don't like about the other three members, Sue is the antithesis of that. While Reed is too curious and doesn't ask enough questions, Sue is more cautious and does ask the right questions. While Ben may seem more pessimistic, Sue always wants to help. While Johnny is worried about his image and more challenging, Sue is stable, and she doesn't care about it as long as she's doing the right thing. She doesn't want everything as a challenge. She knows her place, she knows her role, she knows that she's maybe not the most powerful person, she knows she's maybe not the weakest person, but she knows that she plays a part. I love that about Sue. And you can see Sue as she's written to be a character who doesn't want to be sympathized with. Why? Why sympathize with me, or why search for sympathy? Well, sure, my husband may be the smartest man in the world, But that doesn't mean I'm a dimwit. I'm smart in my own right. I'm a scientist too. Sure, my husband may be disattached and I may feel neglected sometimes. But one, he's a great man. When he does pay attention, he makes me feel like a queen. And three, I understand what he's doing is for the betterment of the world and betterment of mankind. And I am patient enough and loving enough to try to help him unhinge sometimes. She's not a damsel. She may be the only female in the group, but she's holding the group together. Well, she's holding the group together. Like I said, she's the scientist in her own right. She's not there looking for help. She usually is the help. She's one of the most powerful members on the team. If you take away Johnny, she is the most powerful member of the team. And then Sue is the most pragmatic and sensible person on the team. While you have Johnny, who is a hothead and always irrational, Ben, who, because of the situation, should be the most pessimistic and should be the realest one, and Reed, who wants to look everything at a problem or try to think his way out of everything, Sue is the most pragmatic person, the most sensible. Maybe let's not do this. Maybe let's wait for this. She's a diplomat. She's always ready to talk, while Ben is a brawler. That's not always good because you're most likely to cause more problems than you are to fix them. But Sue, she's a diplomat. She's a spy. She's a loving mom. She's a great leader. She could honestly be a mother figure or a mentor or a leader to a lot of teams and a lot of characters within the Marvel Universe. And she's there to hold a lot of people together. She is the calming voice in a rally. She is, I don't even know how to say it more. I think I said enough, honestly. Sue is underrated. Like I said, I don't read a lot of Fantastic Four. And I probably need to start reading a little bit more. I'll probably have made a better video and a more justifiable video. But I think my videos are pretty much justified. But if they made like a Sue Storm, Invisible Woman series, just based off of her, or a comic, or a one shot, or whatever. If they have one and I don't know about it, let me know in the comments. But if she appears more in like Avengers books or X-Men books, or they have a series about her, I would definitely read it. But y'all know what it is. Let me know who your favorite member in the four is and why. Who is your least favorite member in the four? What you thought about the Fantastic Four movies? What your expectations are for the new movie? Did you see the old series or the 2000 series, which I thought about them? And yeah, I'm gonna catch you guys later. Deuces.